It's the source of spirit for so many cities.
It's unfortunate the way that things played out.
But it's gone silent in the past year. Stadiums sit empty, waiting for the day that we can fill them again. The sports world, like so many parts of our lives, has been disrupted by the virus. This week, we look at that impact for teams, on economies, and on lives.
It really helped a lot of people, myself included, stay sane during this crazy, unpredictable time.
This is The Race. Welcome to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart, and this week we're in one of the great sports towns in America, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And during this show, we'll show you how the pandemic has forced people to change who rely on sports in both business and in health. And we start with a rare condition of the heart that is getting more attention in this pandemic because of the threat that it poses for those who take the field. There's a toughness that comes with growing up in Western Pennsylvania. It's part of the culture here. So is football.
This one was from college whenever I was playing at Duquesne.
To handle the way it ended for Dominic Oliver.
This one was during senior night, which is a little bit more meaningful, obviously.
You need to be tough.
My mom, who ultimately figured out what was going on.
It came in 2005, the summer before his junior season at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh.
I was lifting with one of my best friends. I didn't even make it through my warm-up set, and I felt like I was going to pass out. I ended up dragging myself into an aerobics room where I actually did end up passing out.
This Division I football player felt sluggish for days, as if he had a cold or the flu. His mom, who worked at a local hospital, eventually stepped in.
She just said, all right, enough's enough. I'm going to draw your blood and I'm going to run it in to get some tests done.
Something was wrong with his heart. He was airlifted to a Pittsburgh hospital.
And I vaguely remember the sound of a woman, I don't know if she was a nurse, I don't know if she was a doctor, basically saying, it looks like this kid's having a heart attack.
The diagnosis was giant cell myocarditis, a rare form of a condition of heart muscle inflammation. His mother's intuition discovered something that could have killed her son if it wasn't identified.
What would have happened if she wasn't a nurse? There's a good chance we're not even having this conversation right now, to be perfectly honest.
Myocarditis simply means inflammation of the heart muscle.
Dr. Leslie Cooper spoke with us from his office at the Mayo Clinic. He says myocarditis is often caused by a virus, but is rare.
In athletes, the likelihood of getting myocarditis is pretty low. If you're in a city of 1 million people, young athletes, there might be 100 or 200 cases.
At the beginning of the pandemic, the condition was heavily talked about in athlete circles as questions rose about whether coronavirus could damage the heart. Dr. Cooper says the newest research shows the amount of cases of COVID-19 causing myocarditis is small, but athletes should still watch for these symptoms. Symptoms that could mirror other illnesses, according to Genevieve Ramori with the Myocarditis Foundation.
So when you go to a doctor, this is the challenge. They see these symptoms and they put you in a box, so to speak. Oh, you're in the flu box, you're in the stomach virus box, and they don't look any further.
She wants more patients and parents to ask doctors about myocarditis.
We were able to catch it early. That's not the case for an awful lot of people, unfortunately.
It's unclear what triggered Dominic's case 15 years ago. He still checks in with doctors every couple of years, but he's made a full recovery.
I've been married 10 years now. We have a beautiful 3-year-old.
He never played for Duquesne again. Concerns about his heart were too much. But years later, he took the field one more time.
I actually was able to play in a couple of alumni football games just to kind of bring closure to that chapter of my life. I think as an athlete, we all want to be able to kind of go out on our own terms.
Not letting this rare and dangerous condition define the ending to an important part of his life. Young athletes all over the country have dreams of being part of the next generation to play in places like Heinz Field. Ashley Sampson takes a look at how this pandemic is impacting youth sports and the lessons that they teach.
The Legacy Center in Lehi, Utah, has been a staple of suburban Salt Lake City for decades.
1, 2, 3, Wi-Fi Warriors!
Countless numbers of children have learned self-confidence on these courts and balance on these beams. When COVID-19 hit, it meant game over.
I just stayed home and, yeah, didn't do that much.
For the kids, it was a crushing defeat.
I felt horrible. I was like, oh crap, I don't get to play baseball this year.
Emotionally, that took a big toll when they weren't able to get out and be involved.
How's it going?
Brittany Crumback oversees all the youth sports for the city.
I think a lot of local support from our city council and from our city administration helped a lot because they really wanted us to be able to have programs and to be able to give the kids something to do.
So the city came up with a playbook for the new normal.
Just put your forehead within 2 inches of it.
Temperature checks at the door.
Any symptoms?
Face masks for anyone not actively playing a sport. A limit on spectators and contact tracing.
But for the most part, it's kind of business as usual, just a little safer.
Crumback says all the planning to make this season happen hasn't been a slam dunk, but it's worth it.
So to see a junior in high school be so excited to come here and play basketball with our rec center there's nothing, that's why we do it. It's working, yes.
She says so far no outbreaks have been linked to the facility. Sure, everyone in this building would still like to karate chop the virus. But at least for now, the kids have a little piece of their old lives back.
One of my ways is to express my feelings through sports and stuff like that. I just hate that, not do that.
Overall, it's been great. I've never seen kids happier to play basketball.
And that's a win, no matter what the numbers are on the scoreboard. I'm Ashley Sampson reporting.
It's one family's lifelong dream to bring baseball to their community, but they struck out on that plan as the pandemic set in. How they're fighting on to make their town a baseball town.